Okay, ladies, we are going to go ahead and get started. We are officially live. First, I want to do a sound and screen check. So if you can hear me, let me know in the chat box. It's about a 10-second delay, so I'll give that a minute to wait to verify that while those responses come in. And I see you've already let me know where you're from. Also, let me know what you do so I can maybe tailor the message later to what you do. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. I still haven't seen confirmation yet, so I'm going to give it a few more moments. Okay. Let's see. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so Brittany can hear me. I tried to do another setting just in case. I'll wait one more moment. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, great. Again, welcome, ladies. First, I want to give you a round of applause for tuning in today at 11 o'clock. You could be resting, sleeping in. I could be resting, sleeping in, but we decided that we wanted to show up for each other and make sure that we have information to build a profitable brand. And I would also like to thank anyone taking their time to tune in for the replay. I know things get come up. So for those who could not attend, thank you so much for still setting aside time to get this knowledge. Now, for everyone tuning in, I have a special gift for you. It's a social media template that I will send on Monday. All you have to do is just take a picture of the notes and tag us in your Insta story with one thing that you learned today. And for those who do not know or just learning about me, I am Avery Liggins. I am the Chief Brand Strategist of and CEO of Black Women Moguls, where we assist women entrepreneurs to increase their visibility and connections so they can grow their sales. Basically, I just teach women how to package their services or products in a way that captures their audience's attention and positions them for profit. I want to begin by asking this question. I love to ask this question to put perspective in perspective to set the stage for the webinar. So if you were to stop working on your business right now, would you be happy working a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life? Let me know in the chat if you would be happy working a 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. I know my personal answer would be no, but sometimes you can balance a 9 to 5 with your business. Shakina said a big no. I can definitely agree with that. I hope I said your name right. All right. So I know that by now we all know that in both life and business, we need clarity if we are going to progress. And let's be real, building a brand is hard, right, ladies? And unfortunately, many of us are just winging it, or what I like to call a student of Google University. And I can totally relate. That was me years ago, trying to get everyone's freebie and trying to connect the dots. But when we do use Google University, it sometimes leaves gaps in our knowledge. Therefore, a lot of us have no clue what to do next, and we don't have a vision or a strategy to reach our end goal, let alone make our next step. And if we're honest, I'm sure many of you can relate as well. And I definitely had to be honest with myself several years ago and admit that because I knew exactly what I wanted, but for some reason the pieces weren't fitting together. And myself had to get some help and assistance with a coach who pointed me in the right direction, which sometimes just confirmed what I had already thought. And that is why I started Black Women Moguls, because I see the same struggle with many women today and the clients that I serve. Therefore, my goal is to help women gain clarity so they can have the picture finally becomes clear so they can create plans and strategies and finally put their plans into action. In this action-packed session, you'll learn how I created a recognizable brand within a matter of months, 6 myths we've been taught that prevents us from selling irresistible products or services, and a 5-step mogul strategy to position your business to increase visibility and grow your sales. And this mogul strategy has definitely, it's my personal strategy that I use, and it actually helped me secure and generate sales last night, $3,000 with just one client. And it just blows my mind to see the growth that I have personally seen in my brand within a matter of months just using this mogul strategy. So we will definitely get into that later. Also, I will have a special opportunity to work with me, so stay tuned for that until the end. And I hope you are ready to get started to get into these steps. I'm going to go fairly quickly because I want to go through all 5 steps and give you as much knowledge as possible. Thank you so much. It was amazing. I mean, like, really? 3K, one client? That's why positioning your brand is so essential. First, we're going to go over the basic myths that entrepreneurs have when it comes to branding. And let me know if you're ready by commenting below or commenting in the chat. A 10-second delay is just the worst. Okay, perfect. I see that we are ready. Let's get into these myths about branding. Okay, when most people think about branding, they think that it is about creating logos and colors and the social media part of it. But those elements are what I call the icing on the cake. And honestly, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, which I guess it won't be a secret anymore. Black Women Moguls did not even have a true logo until 9 months later. I created some little temporary thing in Canva and said, this is going to be the logo until I hire somebody to do that. So if the logos and the colors and social media is not branding, what is it exactly? Branding is about getting the clarity we need to put things into place and know where we're going. It's about positioning your brand, and positioning is something that I talk about all the time, and I probably sound like a broken record at times. But as an entrepreneur, we cannot run a profitable business without vision and strategy to attract our ideal audience, which is why it is important to be intentional. Being intentional starts with asking the right questions or working with someone and getting the right information. But I want to leave you with this in this first little myth. What do you want your brand to be known for? A little later, I will tell you the definition of, well, one definition of branding, but just think about in the meantime, what do you want your brand to be known for? This is how you will demonstrate that your brand is trustworthy and worth people's investment. The second myth that entrepreneurs believe is that they do not need to narrow their target market. A question I like to ask is, would you speak to a 20-year-old college student the same way you would speak to a 60-year-old woman? And the answer is probably not, because they are on two different playing fields. The college student is probably in hustle mode, trying to get their education together, looking at plans for their career, while the 6-year-old is probably thinking about retirement. Yes, that's true. Probably thinking about retirement and maybe relaxing and vacationing. So definitely you would not speak to them the same way, which is why it is important to hone down on your target market, because your target market is how you position yourself, your brand, as the go-to brand for that particular segment. And it also ties into your messaging and marketing as well. Myth number 3, I have to have a traditional business plan. Now, unless you're going after capital funding, you do not need a traditional business plan. Now, the key word is traditional. I don't want you leaving this webinar saying, Avery said I didn't have to have a plan for my business, so I can just do anything. That would be completely false. But you still need a plan that will have some sort of blueprint, because if you have a business without some sort of plan, it's like building a house with no blueprint. When construction workers build a house or a new skyscraper, they have a plan. They know the foundation that will be laid, the ingredients that will go in that foundation when they try to make it hardened. I'm not a construction worker, obviously, but they'll know where every brick will go, where every window will be placed. Because if they don't have a plan in place, they can potentially waste time building by trial and error. And unfortunately, many entrepreneurs do not build their businesses on a solid foundation, which translates into lack of profits. Therefore, there are key elements that you do need in your plan, which we will discuss later. And so I just want to do a quick check to see if you're with me so far. I know this is a lot of content and I'm coming at you fast, but I want to make sure you get all this information and pause for a second. Let me know if it's making sense so far. Great. Okay, let's move on to myth number 4. Posting on social media is marketing. Because social media has made it easier to access millions of people at your fingertips, we have become lazy and dependent on it. And when we think of posting on social media we often think that posting on social media is the same as marketing. But before you even hit post or schedule it in advance through sending, because automation is the name of the game these days, what were the steps you took before you made the post? Did you write down a strategic plan? Did you make sure you had a call to action? Did you have an end goal in mind? Because posting just to say you posted for the day, it doesn't work. You have to have some way to engage your audience and be strategic and, again, intentional. And it should also always be relevant to what you offer in the end. And sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that our target market is on social media, and we would have wasted all this time and resources and Facebook ads, which I do use because my social target market is on social media. But sometimes like I said, they might not even be there. So you're speaking to someone and it's just going in one ear and out the other because they're not the person for you, for your business. Now, to quantify this, I looked up some statistics on HubSpot, and they found that 59% of respondents say that marketing emails influence their purchase decisions. They also said that 73% of millennials prefer communications from businesses to come via email. They also said that 99% of consumers check their email every day. And so think about your own email system. Maybe you have it coming straight to your phone. I know I have it coming straight to my phone from like how many different email accounts, but I still make sure like when a notification pops up that I check to see the email. Even if I don't like zero in on it, I still see who it's coming from. Whereas with platforms such as Instagram or Facebook, it's not guaranteed that your followers will see your latest post with the algorithm. And that's why it's so important to diversify your marketing tactics, which we'll get into a little later. And in case you needed a little more proof, listen to this quote by Noah Kagan. He's the founder of SumoMe. He said that AppSumo.com is a 7-figure business and 90% of their revenue comes from emails. Now, if you type in Google, you can just type in email marketing stats. You'll see so many. I forget the specific one, but I said for like every dollar that you spend on email marketing, I think you get like a $36 return or something. So imagine that times 10, times 100 people or times 10,000. The results are staggering. Now with myth number 5, the myth is that you need a lot of followers to build a profitable brand. And if you have been in my previous classes or seen me on Instagram Live, you probably heard me use this example before, but it really is the perfect example to debunk this myth. Last year, an influencer with 2.6 million followers, I'll repeat that again, 2.6 million followers, talked about her inability to sell 36 shirts. So let's repeat that again. She had 2.6 million followers, but she couldn't sell 36 shirts, which led her whole business to flop. How many people are surprised by that she could not sell 36 shirts with her large following? See the chat coming through. Right. It was very surprising. Yes, definitely. Here is what some of the comments said about her campaign. It said that lack of promotion on her channels. There was lack of promotion on her channels. There was no content related to the creation of the process behind the establishment of the brand. There was no personality or emotion. There was someone who suggested that that those t-shirts that she created didn't really fit with the rest of her style, and she didn't do much to promote them, to market it. And one more person said that she posted 2 images about the product before launching it. Therefore, again, you've heard me say it several times already. Therefore, if she had truly understood her target market, her audience, and used marketing tactics to involve them in the process, saying, hey guys, I have this lunch coming up. Stay tuned for it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you like to see in the process? Or just find other ways to include them of how include them in the process and engage them. She would have done a lot better in her marketing campaign. But unfortunately, this was a harsh reality she had to face. And I don't want you to make the same mistakes. When it comes to our social media following, I know it's like a rat race sometimes. We want to have the most followers. We want to have that cute little 10K swipe up, which I admit sometimes I still want that 10K swipe up. But in actuality, I would rather have 10 followers who are engaged with my brand, who pay who are not just followers, they actually pay for my brand, than 100,000 or a millions of followers who just click like, because likes do not equate dollars, and I would rather have the stacks. And finally, myth number 6. I need to have an MBA to run a successful business. Now, if we need an MBA to be an entrepreneur, we are all in trouble, ladies. And while an MBA is not important, it is important to invest in things like training, books, and personal development. Again, while Google is great for some things, other things get lost in translation, which is why when you're truly ready to level up your business, you invest in the resources and tools you need to progress forward. And personally, I have invested so much into myself financially for training and systems. And while I may have cried at the time, like, how am I going to make it through trying to pay these expensive coaches? I won't even get into how much, but it worked out in the end, and it returned to me tenfold. But what it all boils down to is creating visibility and, again, positioning your brand for success. And if you have not taken the right steps, your brand will appear all over the place because it will have no structure in place. I have utilized my 5-step mogul strategy to secure several speaking features and opportunities when no one even knew my name, with some more already in the works for this year. So we are going to go ahead and get into the 5 steps. I hope you are ready to take some notes, and we'll get into it. Here is my 5-step mogul strategy to increasing your visibility. Number 1 is no surprise, understanding your target market. Number 2, creating your clear offer, which is what helps me the most to secure that 3K client last night. Crafting your brand identity, enhancing your visibility, and establishing your systems. I cannot stress how important, thank you. Establishing your systems is so important because it was something that I wish I had known sooner, writing down all the processes for your business, but I won't give too much away now because we'll get into more detail later. Let's go into step 1, understanding your target market. A primary reason why brands do not attract their ideal customer is because they do not even know who they are. They only think they do. I'll give you an example. You know about the brand Black Women Moguls, but Black Women Moguls actually started from Black Business Connect, and it was a broader platform that I use for both men and women, all ages. I mean, it was pretty open. However, when I looked at my Instagram analytics and Google Analytics, I found that 70% of my target market was women. So remember how I said you wouldn't speak to a 20-year-old college student the same way you would speak to a 60-year-old woman? I had to discover my true target market and figure out their particular pain points that would help me to position my brand better and give them the resources that they really needed. When you try to appeal to everyone's taste and preferences, it does the opposite effect of what most people think, because your core message becomes murky. That's why it's important to narrow down your niche to a specific demographic. Again, understand your ideal audience's pain points and to learn their preferences and behaviors. And that's done through surveys, focus groups. There are different ways you can do that. And there are more ways you can do that, but unfortunately, I can't get into the full tactics of what you can do. But surveys and focus groups, even the Instagram polls, are just some ways you can understand your target market and who's following you. And then also, you definitely want to look at your Instagram analytics and Google Analytics too. Oh, and Facebook as well. They have that. Okay. Another reason why it is important to understand what your customers' pain points is because how can you offer them something if you don't know what they need? A lot of times we think we know what the customer needs, but we sometimes, even if it is aligned with what they do need, we just need confirmation to make sure that we are on the right path, because your target market, their wants and their needs can evolve over time. Step 2, creating your clear offer. If you are unsure of your products or services, how can you expect your audience to be sure about what you offer? Therefore, it is important that you clearly communicate the value or your product or service provides, which is accomplished by articulating your product or service, determining the features and benefits, and show them the results. Receipts are so important when you have them to show, because it just, again, builds that trustworthy brand. People can see what you're doing and, oh, this person can actually get results. When you're talking about the features versus benefits, well, you do want to talk about the features, but you really want to highlight the benefits more. Are you saving them time? Are you saving them money? How will this change their life for the better? Sometimes if you have a done for you product or service, you want to make sure that you emphasize that as well, because the features, well, I mean, they're great, but they really mean nothing to the person. They want to know, how will this impact them in the future? And when a potential customer visits your social media or website or meets you in person, they should know immediately what you do, how you do it, and the results you have to give. The results you give. They shouldn't have to guess what you offer. Later, I will share a case study of a client I assisted, which demonstrates why this is so crucial. Step 3, after you get really clear on your target market, next is creating your unique brand identity. So remember, I said that I would tell you a definition of brand identity, and I asked, how do you want to be remembered with your brand? Branding basically is how you are perceived when you are not in the room. What are people saying about your brand? Oh, this is brand offer quality. She provided great customer service. What are people saying? And again, how do you want to be remembered? And an important part of that is, how will you make yourself stand out? Again, it could be through customer service, through quality. It could be the product itself. If you have this amazing, I don't know, skincare cream that clears all of your blemishes away, you want to highlight that. Never, well, I guess you would never have acne, but or something like that, but never have blemishes for like 3 months. I don't know. But you want to position yourself in a way that makes your brand stand out from the next, because yes, there are similar brands, but once you point out what makes you unique and you come from a place of authenticity, your clients will be attracted to that. This also ties into the message you are conveying, the mood you evoke, and the brand personality you exhibit. In my Profit Accelerator, I discuss how your brand personality and the archetypes ties into your messaging and your target market and how you can attract them. And having these key elements figured out leads to a consistent brand. I know that's, everyone wants to know, how do you build a consistent brand? Well, it's through consistent messaging, and that comes through, again, knowing your target market. There are so many ways. I wish I could cover that into detail, but I will leave some time for questions if you have more, if you have any questions about that in the end. Step 4 is enhancing visibility. Now, this is definitely where I specialize, because, again, you saw all of the speaking engagements and features I secured on my own without a PR representative. Now, it would be great to have someone do that, but I can definitely do it for myself in the meantime. And I certainly didn't wait for someone to recognize my greatness. I hopped in people's DMs. I sent cold emails. I attended networking events and positioned myself as an expert. And I made sure that I was in the room, even when I didn't want to be sometimes. I had, it was in December. I'm a homebody by heart, y'all. I love to stay at home, go to sleep, and relax when I'm not working on my brand. And there was this one holiday party for a Black Chamber event. And I said, oh, I could, just stay home and just do nothing. But something told me to go. And while I did not stay too long, I secured a speaking engagement by literally just saying my elevator pitch, which is why it's important to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And we just have to show up for ourselves and see the value in ourselves, and make sure that we go. 90% of success is showing up. So make sure we still show up for ourselves. And because of that, I was able to build strategic partnerships and position myself in a room with 100 ladies. It's also important to leverage your existing networks to create new networks. Utilize LinkedIn, and again, put yourself out there. So think of some ways you can put yourself out there. What are you an expert in? How will you meet your target market where they are? And it could be more than just networking events. You could be putting on your own events. You could also, again, diversify your marketing tactics outside of social media. One thing that I like to do at networking events, and it was actually pretty successful, I printed out some flyers for an event I held back in September. And basically, so they had tables within the room. So basically, I just put my flyer strategically on the table. So when people would come up to rest on the table, they would be like, oh, this flyer. And sometimes I would just circle around the room to see if my flyers were gone, and I would see that they were. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to nicely put some more flyers on the table. So that's some ways you can like put yourself in front of your target market without having to necessarily meet someone, meet every single one. You can still have your visibility there. So far, I have covered, I know it's been a lot of information, why narrowing down your niche is the foundation of your brand, why you need to understand your audience's needs before you create your product, using your brand identity to resonate with your ideal client, and ways to expand visibility. I get questions all of the time about how to brand and market, and I know some of you may struggle with this. And really, entrepreneurship is about making mistakes and improving ourselves. I make mistakes all the time. You might not see it, but I know my mistakes. And I'm sure you saw, some people might have seen that video about when I made that typo, but it's sometimes very much deeper than a typo. Before I get into the final step, remember that I had a special invitation for you to work with me. And so many of us get stuck in our businesses because we are waiting for the perfect conditions to start. But sometimes it's just because we don't have the right training or support. And again, there comes a point where winging it no longer works, but we have to admit that we need help. Marie was one of those people. Before working with me, Marie had difficulty understanding her virtual assistant agency. Her clients didn't understand what she offered, and they were trying to find out looking on her website, and they were kind of confused. And she would often hear how hard it was to navigate her site and that it needed an update. And because of this feedback that she received, Marie thought that the problem was just marketing and that a new website would solve it. However, I quickly realized that a new website would only act as a band-aid, and it was a much deeper issue that Marie faced. The real problem was, again, like I said earlier, that she did not articulate her services, which left her audience feeling confused, and she did not position herself properly, which was basically leaving money on the table. And that is something we don't want to do. We want to get I don't say coins anymore, I say stacks. We want to get all of our stacks. And after working with me, Marie was able to package her services for profit, create clear policies and systems for onboarding clients and employees. And later in this module, or excuse me, in this webinar, I will tell you the step number 5 about systems as well. So stay tuned for that. Within 2 weeks of the project, after it was complete, Marie left me a review and said, Avery was a pleasure to work with. She went above and beyond and understood what she needed, and it reduced her stress and added so much value to her business. Her website was getting noticed, and again, that wasn't the key. It was the way she packaged it, and customers were now wanting to hire her, and she looked forward to working with me again. Starting March 2nd, I am so excited. I have completely revamped this program. The Mogul Mastermind Profit Accelerator will begin. My vision for 2020 is to help women live life on their own terms and build a profitable brand without living paycheck to paycheck. I know it is hard to pay one person for coaching, another for graphic design, and another for website design. And then you have to have someone else or yourself do the systems, which is why I've taken all of these roles and wrapped it into one program so you can save time, energy, and money. What you'll learn through the Profit Accelerator is how to work more efficiently instead of harder to save you time and energy. That's where the systems come into place. strategies that will help you gain more clarity and prioritize your next steps, how to create systems to manage your brand more effectively to produce overwhelm, how to discover your target market so you can effortlessly position your business, and how to create your own graphic design to save you money as well. You'll also learn how to use your strengths and passions to create opportunities. Thank you so much. And connections. So it's important to get over those mind blocks that are preventing us in the way. And that was something that I had to struggle with to push through my own personal blocks to build a profitable brand. I will also teach you ways to build your email list because, again, we talked about early on how powerful email marketing is, how to use your brand voice to articulate your offer and increase sales, and finally, understand how to use the right messaging to nurture your audience. So here's just some of the modules. I'll go through it quickly. Module 1 is about building a business around the lifestyle you desire so you love what you do every day. That's where we'll delve into the mindset blocks. We'll talk about how to organize your time and schedule. Module 2 is building a brilliant brand that slays. So that's when we talk about your target market, your client attraction strategy, learning your target market's pain points, and creating your customer profile. And module 3, we'll learn how to package your passion for profit. So that's basically teaching you how to build a profitable and irresistible brand, product, or service for profit. In module 4, we'll talk about the brand identity so you can attract your dream clients. Module 5 will teach you how to build your savvy marketing plan step by step, so getting the money online and offline. And finally, number 6 is getting the answers to your final branding questions and also creating systems and metrics to track brand success. There are about 6 primary strategies that I teach with the how to measure your target market, your social media, to make sure that you are on point with your goals. In addition, you will receive 3 live group coaching sessions, a 30-minute individual exit strategy. I will personally create graphic design templates for you. You will get a customized 1-month content plan, website design tutorial, website audit, a systems management template, which I will personally help you with as well, social media and graphic design tutorial, and I'll teach you how to automate your Instagram so you don't have to manually do it, my personal resource list and hacks, and a You Glow Girl workbook. Now, this program value is $3,294. However, the program itself is $897 or 3 installments of $299. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. Also, as a bonus, I will be throwing in 3 individual coaching sessions, a Black Business Connect feature, which will also be, you will get a feature on Black Business Connect's Instagram and also my Instagram, which I don't put everybody on my Black Women Moguls Instagram. So that is a bonus in itself. And in addition to the customized content plan, we will hash out a customized marketing plan for you. And you must place your deposit to receive this extra bonus by 8:00 p.m. tomorrow. Now I understand. Oh, sorry. Also, if you want to get this free, you can write it off as your business expense on your taxes next year. I love writing off coaching because it's a high return on expenses, a return on investment through your sales, and a lifetime learning, the value that you get from lifetime learning. Now, in the event that you cannot put your first $299 down by 8:00 tomorrow to receive the extra perks, text me right now at this number to let me know how much you can put down, and we'll work out an alternate payment plan, because I really believe in this program. And I was actually speaking to my mentor the other day, and she said, people are charging millions of dollars for the systems that you are teaching. I was like, they are? I was really surprised, because for me, it's not necessarily about the money. It's just about helping people. So I was like, wow, millions. But I really do believe in this program, and it's helped me to secure visibility. And again, like I said, money for my brand. Not necessarily just this brand, but other streams of revenue that I have. So let me know if you need to make an alternate payment plan by texting that number. And then you can also click the link that is in your chat. Let us move on to the final slide, which is establishing your systems. Again, step 5 is something that I wish I would have known sooner, and it takes into account all of the processes and tools like payments, email funnels, and automation that you do. Let me ask you, how many of you document all of the processes that you do right now? For example, in my personal business, like if I'm writing an email, I write down the steps that I do before sending that email out, such as step 1, writing the headline. Step 1, choosing the topic. Step 2, writing the content for that email. Step 3, creating a headline that ties and aligns with the content. Step 4, going into what I use, MailChimp, creating the body of and the design of the email. Step 5, making sure that all my links are tested. So things like that. Actually taking the time to write down each process. So I have it for email, I have it for webinars, I have it for onboarding clients, different things. Creating systems helps you to manage your business like clockwork. And working for the state government for 5 years now, I've seen how different processes have gone on behind the scenes and how they document literally everything, which is why you also want to document your processes, because you can also see flaws in your process and identify ways to improve. Plus, when you build your team, you can pass on the process to them without having to scramble last minute to put a guide together and train them. Basically, everything will be in the manual. Now, I want to pause and give time for questions. That was a basic overview of branding, and I will just give you a few minutes to ask your questions, and either about the program or about the content itself of the webinar. And I'll try to answer as quickly as possible because I know there's a 10-second delay. So if you don't hear me for a minute, that's why, the 10-second delay. I forgot one more slide, sorry. Which is pretty much what I covered, that the process, branding business systems is the process it takes for you to accomplish a specific task. Good systems equals efficiency and accuracy, and it increases your chance of the same result or better. So let me know if you have questions, and let me know if this was helpful for you. I always like to, each webinar, I try to put in more information. So I would love to hear your feedback and how helpful was this for you. Okay, so I have a question. How do you select networking events to attend? All are not equal, I have found. That's a good question, actually. I think I first look at the organization. So, and then I also see if my target market is there. Sometimes it just might be that our target market simply is not in the room. But sometimes, I like to stalk other people's organizations if I'm going to, I admitted that, if I am going to go to their networking event, I try to look for videos or people who have tagged them in a post to see, okay, this was a successful event. This is something that I should probably go to. Sometimes it's just trial and error, because I try to leverage every little opportunity that I come across. So if it's not working for me in the end, I try to at least connect with the host. Maybe there's a collaboration event we can do to make it better in the future, because two heads are better than one sometimes, especially when you're trying to do events. So first I just look at the organization itself, see any past events that they've done, do my research on maybe who will be in the room. Any other questions? I would give it like two more. Okay, let's see. Do you offer any other services outside of what you mentioned in this webinar? Do you, well, what are you looking for? I'll start there. I do offer smaller consultations, which is not necessarily advertised on my website. So let me know what you're looking for, and I can definitely see if that's something that fits. I do like website design sometimes. Someone wanted me to actually manage their Instagram for them. I don't know about that, but sometimes I do services outside of the actual program. Oh, and you're welcome, Brittany. And actually text me. We can just talk offline about what you're looking for. So I'll put my number in the chat. Hopefully it comes up faster for you than it does for me. Okay, so just text me and let me know what you're looking for. Are there any other questions? All right, I don't see any others. I hope I didn't miss anybody with the delay that I have. And if I see one that comes in after, I will be sure to email you the answer. So thank you, ladies, so much for tuning in today. Don't forget that the Mogul Mastermind Profit Accelerator begins March 2nd. And if you can't make the $299, just let me know what you can do by emailing me or texting me. And we'll make sure that we get you in the course and work with you on the payment plan. So thank you so much. And as always, feel free to email me with any questions. Have a great day, ladies.